Hello and welcome to another episode of Study of X. My name is Tim, and this is a podcast covering the Krakoa era of X-Men comics. And with me, as always, is the kickboxing champion of the world, Chris.
It's true, I've never kickboxed once in my life, but despite that, they deemed me champion.
And the inventor of the sundial, Sergio.
One of my highlights for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I first met you, that's how you introduced yourself, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's been a while since we were here in the recording booth.
Yeah, it has been some...
I got surgery that I'm still recovering from.
I broke a foot and threw out my back, not at the same time, one after the other. None of these are made up stories, by the way.
No, I will joke and say it is an Orcus-led plot, but it's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, but, we're back. We're here to talk about X-Men and comic books and all that fun stuff, as well as a bit of a trip down with COVID again, because in between some Wolverine issues, that happened. But we'll cover that when we get there.
And coincidentally, all three of us have caught COVID before recording this podcast.
Dun dun dun. I actually did last year, but not recently.
Yeah.
That is not in this mess of the last couple of weeks where a bunch of stuff has happened.
Yeah.
I got it last year. It seems to be like coming back, and I really do not want to catch it again.
Yeah,
Especially because
Yeah,
the
I've heard
surgery
that
I had
too.
was like nose related, and I wouldn't want it to mix.
I got it about 2 months ago, I believe, just like during the summer, and it was not a fun time.
It's been a rough last couple of months for you.
It really has.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, just a lot of bad luck in a row. But you know what's not bad luck? I don't know, actually. In these 3 issues, this seems like they've kind of run across some bad luck. So
Yeah, things
maybe
are not looking
maybe
great.
this was a bad segue.
I was curious where you were going to go with that, because Marauders, which we're starting with, that's bad news for a lot of people.
It's not optimistic. But yeah, I guess let's get into Marauders.
All right. So with Marauders number 8, Furious Anger, written by Gary Duggan, it was released back in February of 2020. And we're opening up on something actually a bit more positive. We're on Mars here with Christian Frost as he's taking a bunch of mutant children on a field trip through the solar system.
Yeah, this is your tour guide speaking.
Mm-hmm. And even despite there being children here, Emma is as dramatic as she still can be and must keep up her appearance. But she shows these kids through some of the, Krakoan flower facilities that they have, which are run by really cool-looking, plant robots. I actually really dig them.
Yeah, these are cool looking. The other thing I want to make note of here is Emma asked one of the kids what they think is really made here, and the kid says medicine for flat scans. And is this the first time that we've heard this term?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this is basically an insult directed at humans. It's been used previously in X-Men history by usually not great mutants. But yeah, it's not a great word.
These kids were probably talking to Kid Omega and Magneto and picked it up, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like Emma using this term and the kids just overheard her when she didn't notice.
Yeah.
Because right after she goes into the we're actually making leverage thing, and that is still kind of like a heavy way to portray it.
It is. It's definitely not like a... I do get the impression that Emma probably isn't using flat scan as a word, but I don't think she thinks all that highly of the humans.
Yeah, no, not if she's teaching these kids that, hey, we should use leverage on our enemies.
Yeah. But I think the term is basically just like they don't have the X genes, so they aren't scanning for that, so it's flat scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I actually didn't know that was a term before this. I thought this was a new Krakoa era term, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I want to say this was either introduced back in the 90s or the 80s, but yeah, that's been a thing for a little bit.
Hmm.
Well, while these kids are being taught the power of leverage, Emma gets a well, she doesn't get a communication from Bishop, but she catches Bishop's mental plea to somebody, and she sends the kids along with Christian Frost as Bishop tells her, hey, you should probably take a look at what I'm seeing because something bad has happened. And we see a very ominous single page of a clearly dead Kate underwater.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, and just to for people that missed the last time we were on Marauders, Bishop boarded this boat undercover. Last issue, so they, I guess, knew exactly where Sebastian was putting this body because they were going out here to recover it. So I think that answers our question if Verendi was like in on this plan with Sebastian or not.
Mm-hmm. As well as what was happening to Kate, because I knew Sergio wasn't too sure last time, because you never really know, because it ended on a cliffhanger. But no, she's very dead.
Yeah.
She had a rough time.
Yeah, I didn't think she would get killed off here. I have to admit that surprised me.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it surprised Emma as well, because even though she has enough composure to get the children away, she crumbles the second they walk through the gate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is hitting her hard.
Yeah. She tells the children the brainwashing will continue another day
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and
we'll get back
collapses
to
on the
this
floor.
Xavier-esque.
Yes. Just bringing back that to me, my Marauders, instead of to me, my X-Men. Which
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of silly, but I know it's Xavier's thing, where he's always like, to me, my X-Men. I think that's been there since, what, the very beginning?
Yeah, that's a pretty old one. That's just kind of classic at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Iceman shows up looking optimistic. Apparently everybody else is busy, so they only got Iceman to come
Mm-hmm.
do this extraction with him.
Yeah, and he's in a generally a good mood until he gets the feeling that, hey, there's some bad news coming. And we don't actually see them tell him that Kate is dead, but we're gonna see what that leads to. So back in Madripoor, Bishop gets Kate's body from a guard, and unfortunately he gets spotted. So before he is able to take out the other guard, or no, he does take out the other guard, and Emma tells him to shelter in place because they have arrived and cavalry is here.
Yeah, the other thing I want to note here is he does find a piece of this stuff that Kate got like tangled up in. So they got that going for them at least.
Yeah, which it has been a minute, so just as a reminder, that was something Sebastian put together. It's some sort of a Krakoan vine, which Kate can't phase through since the gates don't like her. It seems all of Krakoa does not like her. So her getting tied up is odd.
All right, go for it, Chris.
Alrighty, sorry about that. Some audio cut out. So what we just last talked about was Bishop recovered Kate's body and brought it back, and he noticed that there was some of the plant tied around her leg. So he took some of that for himself, knocked out another guard, and Emma just told him to brace himself because they have finally arrived.
Do we know what causes that explosion that Bishop feels? We could
No.
to Iceman stuff.
There is a little blurb on the next page once we go below deck. It says, "This is the captain. We've hit ice."
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes, you're
okay. So
correct.
yeah, so they hit an iceberg and that probably caused something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like they were setting something up, and I didn't find what the resolution was, so I was a little confused. But it does make sense that it's an iceberg created by Iceman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're never shown the ship after this, just the people on board. But I can imagine it's pretty bad because the mercs are not gonna get out of this very well. But we are shown a bunch of faceless, roughly nameless mercs as everything gets very, very cold down there. They start freezing over. You can see that their hands are being frozen to the gun. And one of the mercs, despite starting to freeze, isn't too worried because unless they have Magneto, they're not going to get through that door.
Yeah, and I feel like Iceman really lets the Omega mutant out here. It becomes very clear how scary a rapidly freezing room can be.
They're being very unimaginative about how they could possibly get into that room without Magneto. There's a lot of X-Men that can get into that room.
Yeah, I'm just like
There are so many.
like I think like any telepath could probably get through that door.
Mm-hmm. Or get to one of them to open the door.
Shadow Kate could have gotten through this door.
Kate could have gotten through the door. I'm sure Storm could have blown the door open.
Yeah, maybe Pyro couldn't have, but like,
yeah. But
They
there's
got
a
into
number.
that weird techno bunker that last time in another issue.
yeah,
And it took like 3 of them, but they still got in. They're gonna get through this metal door, dude.
yeah. I don't know. It's a little bit optimistic, especially with it just getting like dropping to what appears to be like absolute zero.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
if not colder, because the sergeant in the room immediately starts taking off his clothing as a symptom of hypothermia. So I'm imagining it got really, really cold really fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a really good panel here as Iceman blows this metal door open and just whispers murderers under his breath.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying looking. This is
There's this running like thing where it's really terrifying when an X-Men gets vengeful and decides to just be cruel.
yeah.
It kind of plays on the, when the heroes finally get mad and decide that they'll take the gloves off, But with the X-Men, I feel like it's done very effectively because so many of them don't kill. There are some that do, but the ones that don't, when they finally decide to go that far, it's really good and it's very scary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because this is like it's Iceman, is happy-go-lucky Iceman. Like you don't imagine him freezing someone so far that their fingers are crumbling off, which is
as they try to shoot their gun.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the guy who was making ice puns, an issue or two ago.
But yes.
Yeah, it's not a good time. Bishop comes in and he is telling Iceman to stop. And that seems to get through to him because Iceman kind of relaxes a bit and he's like, okay, yeah, one of the laws is kill no man.
Yeah, but he does rip off someone's arm.
Very easily, actually. Because it is so cold.
Yeah.
And he has this good line also where he's like, frostbite never quite heals. You're always going to be cold. And when you are cold again, you will have this pain forever.
Yep, and with that, they are back to the submarine. That's apparently not a submarine.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. I'm gonna call it a submarine. It's not like they can send me a letter and tell me I'm wrong. And they are gonna go to Arbor Magna for Kate to bring her back, or at least attempt to. But first, Emma needs to tell Storm what happened.
Yeah, and I really like this section.
I also really, really like this section.
So I think we kind of hinted at this before, but like Storm and Emma are both like two kind of differing like adult figures in Kate's life. Storm was, always like the person on the team that she kind of looked up to, where Emma was kind of like the pull in the opposite direction. And because of that, these two have never really liked each other too much. And just seeing this interaction here, I think is really good. I think they have a lot of there's a lot of personal baggage going into this conversation, but there's also like this underlying like they both cared about this person that just isn't here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the grief comes off well here.
Absolutely. And from both of them, too. Because while Storm is coming in, rightfully angry and crying, Emma is not crying or anything, but you can tell she's struggling with this as well.
Yeah, I really like how both have their own ways of expressing their grief, and at the same time they're at the end of the day like cognizant of each other's pain and kind of come to the place that they do where they kind of take solace on one another.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
love this moment where Emma like is making a statement here where Storm asked her where she is, and Emma's just like, I could ask you where you were, and then like she gets slapped, and instead of, reacting harshly to that, she's just like, I know you were doing your job. Like that's what I was gonna say. Like you were doing something important. Like it's not any of our faults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels very adult
Yeah.
from them.
And and then they have this embrace, which again I really like, where she's just like, here is the gift. This is what you gave me when I saw Cyclops like come back to life, like just like this hope. And it just kind of ends on this like note of there is still hope here.
Yeah. Yeah. That even though Kate is dead, they do have the power to bring mutants back. So, despite, the worries that maybe it won't work, which we don't know if it will or not. So, yeah, like you both said, there is hope here. And I agree. I think this is my favorite scene throughout this whole issue. And I think all the issues that we've read today, it would be this.
Yeah. So we get our next page after that, and we're back with Sebastian and Shinobi.
Yeah, it looks like they can see something is going on over at the White Palace, which I'm assuming is the massive lightning bolt from Storm. But hey, both of these two are getting along. And it looks like Shinobi here has some sponsors to join as the Black Knights. And he introduces Fenris. And I have to ask, Sergio, do you know who the Fenris twins are?
I was about to ask the same thing. Well, I was about to ask who they were, not the same thing.
Okay. So it's kind of answered on the next page at the bottom. But the von Strucker twins were children of the Nazi supremacist Baron Wolfgang von Strucker.
Yeah, they're Nazis.
They are Nazis. They are full Nazis. It is not like, hey, they're dancing around them or anything. No, they full on want a Fourth Reich and all of that it entails. They are just Nazis.
Okay, yeah, that seems to line up with the whole Verandy stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They just took their brand of genocide and racism and also put it against mutants as well, despite being mutants.
Yep. So our next data page here, we get some more Sinister Secrets. I'm gonna be real, I don't know what these three are talking about.
Yeah, I was looking at these, and I think number 16 is, it's about if someone can make a meeting, anyone can. I think it's supposed to be making fun of Kate, because she missed a meeting. That's where she was headed before she got killed.
Oh yeah, okay. Come on, Kay. Yeah, that makes sense. 19. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say 17. I think is about Kid Omega because his name is Quentin Quire. It says Quirky Q.
Okay, I could see that. And then 18, I'm just not sure who that's about. Apparently, someone has a kid.
I looked that one up actually because I was like, okay, I can get some guesses, but not on this one. And it's the person or the mutant is Stinger. Apparently, they were an original villain of X Factor. They were a member of Apocalypse's Alliance of Evil, but that alliance did not last very long. And she's just been kind of bouncing around in the background, and apparently she's the first one to be pregnant. So, congratulations.
Yeah, and then Sinister Secret 19 apparently is just the Fenris twins. I appreciate Sinister for also thinking Nazis are gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I also really like that at the bottom. Because, yeah, it's, for those who don't have it in front of them, this is the one where it's asking which is the grossest mutants. And instead of just keeping it a secret, it's at the bottom just like, no, it's Fenris. They're disgusting.
Yeah, it's not the Morlocks. Don't be mean.
Yeah, don't be mean to the Morlocks. They're not Nazis. So, but this is the end of our issue because we are getting back to Madripoor here, where we see Lockheed, who has been saved by this gentleman and this girl here, and he seems to be alive. He ate some fish, burped some fire, and seems to be doing all right.
I'm glad he's fine.
Yeah, we need that dragon to be okay.
Even though Kate is dead, I'm glad Lucky's okay.
I'm sure bringing her back is gonna be a whole thing. I don't expect it to go off without a hitch, but it'll happen.
Yeah, that's probably a good guess.
Mm-hmm. And then, it's I don't know. For me, it's kind of the same thing with Xavier dying so early in X Force. It's like, okay, you're opening with this. This is still pretty early on. This is Marauders number 8. She's gonna come back. I don't think she's gonna stay dead.
Yeah, plus I feel like it being connected to the whole thing about Krakoa not liking her is like going to further probably that thread. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. I think it's a good excuse to like dive deeper into that side of the story.
Right.
Yeah, I agree as well. And then we still have the whole connection of, Shaw orchestrating the whole thing, which I'm sure is gonna come to light.
Yeah, I guess that's why it doesn't feel as gratuitous to me as it felt with Xavier.
But yeah, so what do we think of this issue?
Good. I mean, I really liked it, but I think it's heavily carried by Emma and Storm there. I really liked seeing Iceman kind of go off and show how powerful and scary of a mutant he is. But I think Emma and Storm's, bit in the middle there is just what makes this a really, really good one.
Yeah, this is an issue that it's following something very heavy happening, and it's just kind of the fallout of that. I think the best way to go about doing something like this is to go into more personal feelings for these characters, and I don't think it's any surprise that those ended up being the best parts of the issue.
Yeah, I would agree with you with that.
Yeah, a lot of things happened that had to happen. I'm glad that they didn't beat around the bush and have a whole issue going, oh, where's Kate?
Yeah.
So it's nice that they kind of got to the point there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that as well, because this could have easily been a different story of like, oh, no one's seen Kate, where is she gone? And then they have to track it down, and then we finally get it.
But, speaking of tracking down, do we want to see how Wolverine is handling the Pale Girl?
I'm gonna guess not well, but I do think it's important we check it out.
Yeah. So apparently the storyline we're following up on first is the Pale Girl one, so no vampires yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Dracula and Vampire Nation. That's gonna have to sit to the side for a while. For now, we're gonna get, the CIA and a whole bunch of other things going on. But here with Wolverine number 2, Your Own Worst Enemy, written by Benjamin Percy and released in March of 2020, which is important to remember once we're done with this. But we're opening up here actually on the Marauder. Bishop is working and has some music going on, and when he realizes that the ship is alerting him that it's off course, and we see Pyro, Iceman, and Storm being controlled by the Pale Girl, who is making them offload flowers.
Yeah. And Bishop gets dumped into the sea and pulled down by a half-dead Kate, who is apparently also being controlled. I don't know if this is like his... We get a later reveal that part of this is a dream, and I kind of wonder if this part of that is.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an illusion. It's probably not Kate at all, I would guess.
Yeah.
Because we also see Lockheed here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that lines up.
Yeah, and also, like, again, he is found by Healer later, so it... Yeah, I don't think he is actually dumped and dragged down into the ocean.
Mm-hmm. But I do...
We are going to get another instance of, like, illusion magic or...
Right.
Memory manipulation in a bit.
Yeah, and that does seem to be the Pale Girl's one of her abilities. But I do think Pyro, Iceman, and Storm here are real. Whatever's going on there is real.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No, yeah, so some of this is definitely real. I think it's pretty clear in the issue that, yeah, these petals did get stolen, but I just don't... Yeah, the Kate stuff just doesn't feel correct. But, yeah, so we go to Wolverine in the snow fighting, looks like Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and a doctor. And I guess this is someone from Weapon X.
Yes, I'm assuming it's someone from Weapon X. I don't exactly know who, but since Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike are here, it's got to be a bigger villain of Wolverine's.
Yeah, I respect this man for coming out here holding a gun and a syringe, even if he is not actually a person. It's just there's something about the syringe is just very funny. Like
hmm
you got like Sabretooth here, Lady Deathstrike with like some claws, and then just here's this guy with a syringe.
Yeah, against Wolverine, you
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, we get a little fight with the not actual villains here,
hmm
with some narration.
Yeah, more narration about how Wolverine has had a pretty hard time throughout his life. And as he is murdering all of these villains, it is found out that they are not villains, but they are his friends. And this seems to be what set him off to kill Jean, Domino, and Kid Omega in the first place.
Yeah. So that's not great. He wakes up later back at I don't remember what this the healing gardens,
Yeah,
and with a healer telling him, it was just a dream, although
yeah,
the
with a very conveniently placed dialogue bubble.
yeah.
You know, don't need a leaf or anything as Wolverine is laying very naked on this table, but the speech bubble works.
Yeah, just right over there.
Uh huh.
Cowards. They should have we
just
need
just full
yeah,
full on
I want
nudity. Just
I
come
want
on,
the
guys.
uncensored version of this Benjamin Percy. Like there's a parental advisory warning on this already. Come on, man.
You coward. We're
It's
gonna
like
call you out.
the Baldur's Gate 3 nudity toggle, but on this
But on this
specific
comic
panel.
book.
Yeah, just
Uh-huh.
But we get an explanation here from Healer that Jeff Bannister from the CIA dropped off Logan after he passed out in Antarctica. And we learn also that what is happening to him with these visions and odd dreams is also starting to happen to others, as it apparently happened to Bishop.
yeah, who's also
Oh,
here.
did you mention? Did I just miss you mentioning that it was Bannister who dropped him off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that really quickly, but yeah, Bannister was the friend here.
Dumped you off at
Uh-huh,
one of the
okay.
gates. Says you owe him a call and a beer. Yeah, so we get a data page here just saying, like, hey, some weird stuff happened on the Marauder.
Mm-hmm. Possibly a psionic threat. Probably part of the Flower Cartel. You know, just some more info that, hey, this is happening to other people.
Yeah.
So, but we're back in Baltimore as Jeff Bannister is taking a nap in his daughter's hospital room here, and she wakes him up to let him know that, hey, somebody's giving him a call.
Great napping pose, by the way. A plus.
Belly out, feet relaxed, arms back. You could tell this guy would nap anywhere he possibly could.
Oh yeah, that's an experienced napper right there. But yeah, he's getting a call from Millie, who is I believe an agent that works with him.
Yes, and he finds out that two of his agents that are working on this Pale Girl task killed themselves in, I believe, L.A.
Well, no, one's alive.
Oh, I don't know if I would call her alive.
Just hanging in there.
You know, she cooked her skin off of her face with an iron, and she definitely does not look well.
Her face will grow back.
But her eye? Or her lips?
Yeah. Sure.
So, his...
Krakoan drugs will patch that right up.
I don't know if they're that strong. They might be, but I don't know about fixing a broken face. But things aren't going too well. The Pale Girl is attacking anybody who tries to look into what she's doing and her operations. And Jeff Bannister doesn't take this very well, but his daughter has kind of a good point. You know, if the mutant drugs are part of the problem and it's the mutants' fault, why not ask them to help fix it?
Yeah.
You know, the simplistic answer from a child, but she's right. You know, and it, as we will see, she ends up being, making the correct call here.
So yeah, after this, we go to the hatchery where the X-Force members that Wolverine killed are being brought back.
Specifically Jean, because Scott is here not saying a single word, because I would take he's very upset that his wife was murdered by Wolverine.
Just a very intense stare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do have to say, I'm really glad this weird big tree egg thing was brought back, because it's a very striking image and it's weird. And I really like seeing it whenever it pops up.
Yeah, this page in general, I like the paneling here. It's a nice looking page.
Yeah.
We get another data page here. It's basically just saying they have the Hellfire Trading Company do oversight over all of the Krakoan petals, which makes them not move super quickly. So while they are getting these drugs to people, the wait list is still very long.
Yeah, and they specifically mentioned dementia and cancer here, giving numbers for both of them, which I still think is very interesting as something that these petals can cure. But it does mention that, hey, the supply chain is only so big. There's only so many people that they can help.
Right. And it seems like, they're optimistic we'll get there, but like right now there's a wait list.
Yeah, and you can't really tell people who are sick and dying that they're going to have to wait until they get their turn. It's very hard to do so.
Right.
So, but Bannister knows this very well with his daughter, and we're here back in Langley, VA, as he and his partner are having some target practice, and he mentions that he wants to shut down what they're doing, this whole operation to find the flower cartel, because clearly people are getting killed for trying to investigate it.
Yeah. See,
I love that classic procedural, like cop procedural target practice scene.
yeah, it's also
Same.
I like that it's kind of clever too. Like it feels like it was like chosen as a meeting spot because it was real loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had multiple layers. I also like the little layer that Jeff is a terrible shot. He missed pretty much almost every single shot at his target.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible. he's yeah, he's kind of just all over the place here. Millie here has a picture of the pale girl. He says just delete it. But yeah, so they're trying to pretend that we're shutting this whole thing down. He's just going just completely off the grid on this case. So they're still working the case, but they don't want any trace of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he comes to the conclusion that maybe somebody's on the inside and that's what's happening. That was kind of alluded to in the first issue. But it's kind of reinforced here. I also get the feeling that he wants to do this by himself, or at least with a very, very small crew now.
Right. Well, it's got to stay on the need to know because Pale Girls just seems to things don't seem to go well if she gets wind of you.
Yeah. So, but Jeff has an idea. He's going to bring in the heavy cavalry. And it seems like Wolverine did actually give him a call back after saving his life, as the two of them are now standing on Bannister's front lawn as he cleans it and are drinking beers.
Yeah, I think it's the backyard, but I just want to just say Jeff Bannister being a lawn guy is just good touch. Like
it's good. It fits. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do like him. Great character.
Yeah. This works real well, but yeah, so Wolverine is just meanwhile biting off the lid of a beer bottle, which I also think is a good touch. I really like this scene for just what is basically an exposition scene. I think there's a lot of character that comes through here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they are two gruff, grumpy old men, you know. Logan kind of doesn't want to be here because he just wants to go solve this problem and doesn't want to involve anybody else. Bannister's kind of the same way, but doesn't like mutants. And we also learn that the scar that he has on his head is because of one of the mutant wars that have happened over the years.
This little analogy he gets about having to solve problems by like taking care of like everything involved, and like he's just talking about the lawn while he's doing it, and like it's gonna mess up the Kentucky bluegrass. It's just like, yeah, love it. Like
Mm-hmm. All to set up this really good little gag at the end where they finish off their beers. Wolverine's like, all right, let's get to work. And he tosses his beer bottle onto the lawn. And Jeff's like, really?
Yeah,
Really?
It is very rude.
it is.
It is. It is extremely rude. But I feel like Logan, of all people, should have understood, like, hey, this guy is using grass metaphors. Maybe don't do that to his lawn.
I think it's a power move. like,
Hey, you
Like-
know what it might be?
like I don't think it crossed Wolverine's mind to be courteous. like,
I'm not sure if he knows how to be courteous.
so their plan is to go be bait in a boat out in a storm.
Mm-hmm. And they very quickly do that as they're in the Pacific Ocean in the middle of the storm in a very, very small boat.
Yeah,
And it looks bad.
Jeff Bannister says this sucks. It probably does. But yeah, they got no one with them. It's just those two, and yeah, this is what they're doing. Actually, apparently Millie's driving the boat.
Mm-hmm. It looks like, yeah, no, the two of them, are just kind of out in the weather for some reason to look around. I don't know why, or at least why Wolverine's out there. But yeah, Millie's driving the boat, and they're trying to figure out what's going on when all of a sudden Wolverine stabs Jeff Bannister.
Yep, and we get
Uh-huh.
we get the reveal here that Millie was the pale girl.
Dun dun dun.
And we get Wolverine's very mean looking face, or really funny face as he's driving the boat.
With his like purple evil eyes going on.
Yeah.
Is the pale girl super small in this panel?
Yeah, she looks very tiny. I think it was just kind of the reveal thing, but yeah, it's weird how small she looks here.
Mm-hmm. The perspective of it is a little off, and then on the next one, it looks like she's standing on the steering console here,
Uh-huh.
but
Like she's a dashboard toy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it was to make it look more cinematic, which I agree it does. It looks great, honestly, even if her size is unclear.
Yeah, and that's the end of our issue.
Mm-hmm. That is the end of Wolverine number 2. What did you two think about it?
I love Bannister. I think he's a great character. I love it every time he's on screen.
Yeah. Jeff Bannister is carrying this. It's kind of fun to watch Wolverine too, but yeah, I don't know. It's working for me. More than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. On a reread, I'm actually coming around to Jeff Bannister a lot more. I was kind of indifferent about him the first time through. I think both of your like of him is rubbing off on me, which is fine because he's really fun. But there's also this, overarching inner monologue that Percy does a lot with Wolverine throughout all of this. It doesn't fully work for me. I get what he's going for, because it's a lot of how, Wolverine has had a tough time. He is a monster, he's a killer, people are always going after him, so that's why he can't have friends around him. I just kind of feel like I've read that Wolverine story before, so I just I don't skim it because it is still well written. It just doesn't strike me as much.
Yeah, and
That's fair. It's he's brooding all the time.
he is.
I think that's kind of what he's all about, but yeah, it gets a little bit tiring.
Yeah, it's definitely Wolverine's on some brooding stuff. I like where it ends up going in our next issue, but we'll talk about that as we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go into it.
Yeah, actually, right before we're gonna start that, because this is where things are gonna get a little odd with the release schedule. So Wolverine number 2 came out in March of 2020. The third issue is not gonna come out until July of 2020. So that's a good couple month gap between the two of them. And we've talked about this a little bit before. That there's a period of time, this is right before COVID-19 hits and the pandemic starts. But this is where it actually affects comics in general. It feels a little odd for me to say, like, oh, if you don't know what COVID-19 was. But seeing as this is a podcast that's going to live on the internet, you could be listening to this 10, 15 years from now, and maybe you don't know what that was. So if you're looking for more information on the COVID-19 pandemic and how that happened, this is not going to be the podcast for that. I would definitely recommend that you go somewhere else for it. We're just going to be focusing on the comic aspect of it. But the important thing to know here is on March 23rd of 2020, comics stopped being shipped to distributors in the United States. This is because Diamond Comics Distributor, which was the largest comic distributor in the US and Europe, closed their offices due to COVID. This is about a week after the United States orders its shelter in place for the country. So the company decided it would be best for them to close their offices, shutter their business, and just kind of wait and see where things were going. It's easier to see now how things were going to go, but during those early couple of months of COVID, it really wasn't understood how it spread or how quickly it was going to spread. Was it on surfaces? Was it through the air? So on and so forth. So a lot of places took proper precautions and just stopped. What this meant for comics is they couldn't get anywhere. Diamond Comics Distributor actually had a monopoly on the industry at that point. So DC Comics, which was Batman, Superman, the Justice League, Marvel, Image Comics, Dark Horse Comics, they all used Diamond Comics distributors. So when Diamond said they were stopping, suddenly all of these comics could not get to stores, and there was nothing they could do about it. And so right after Diamond announces this, slowly some of the bigger publishers start to announce, hey, we're putting a halt on our issues. We are not going to release them. Now, you might be thinking, well, why not just release them digitally? Why not just continue to do that and, put them out that way? Comics has always been a very physical media-driven industry, and there's a lot of connections between the LCS, which is your local comic store, and the publisher. So when local comic shops started to suffer and shut down and these comics couldn't get to them, instead of focusing on the digital format, they just said, okay, no, we're just going to stop. We're not going to go forward with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as there's a lot of fallout from this. There's a lot more in depth with it. But for us, Marvel puts about a third of its titles on hold in May and June. That means there is no work being done on them. There's no artists working on them. There's no writers working on them. Everything just stops. And Diamond Comics doesn't reopen for distribution until the end of May. And depending on the title is depending on when it's going to come out from then. So there's a couple of months where just no comics are coming out. Nothing happens. I specifically want to call out Polygon. They have a very, very good coronavirus comics industry timeline that I'm actually going to put out on social media that explains the, cascading effects of all of these. But for us also, the X Desk, which is what all the writers and artists call the X-Men group that works together on all of these comics, they were interviewed by Entertainment Weekly closer to a event that's going to come up for us called X of Swords. And they were asked during that period, hey, how did COVID go for all of you? How was that when everything had to stop? And everybody on the X Desk, which was, a good almost dozen writers, more than a dozen artists, and more, all said that it was actually very good for them that they were all together. They had a Discord going, they had a Slack going where they were all able to stay together and chat with each other, kind of keep each other together. Marvel's editorial was actually called out as a really, really good resource for all of these people to keep them together and keep them sane during this time period when work was very, very uncertain. And it's hard to dance around this because this interview is tied to X of Swords, which we're still not at yet. But Teenie Howard was asked about that because the event does heavily involve Excalibur. And she said that the majority of that event, X of Swords, was brainstormed during COVID, during this specific period of time where Marvel put everything on hold, comics weren't going out. This is where all of it was laid out and the events were put in place and how the story beats were going to go. She specifically mentions that if it wasn't for COVID, X of Swords probably would have looked very, very different because they had a lot more time to kind of tinker with it and toy with it than they would have if comics didn't get put on pause for about 3 or 4 months. And, after a while, it did reopen. Comics did get shipped out again. We do get Wolverine number 3 months later after number 2. Some side stuff. Diamond Comics distributor is now no longer the monopoly of the comics industry. As part of the fallout from this, DC leaves them in June, Marvel leaves them in March of 2021, and then IDW also leaves Diamond Comics. Now it is Penguin Random House for distribution instead of Diamond Comics distributor. So everything did kind of open up, which kind of a plus since they did have a monopoly on the industry. But it was a very interesting kind of shift and change that had been there for decades prior to that.
Yeah, and the other thing I do want to point out is that while it worked out for the Krakoa stuff, I think for the most part, a lot of stuff got canceled around this era and just never came back.
Yeah, that is the other downside of it. I did try to find more articles about, smaller indie comics publishers or other stories that maybe never finished, but I couldn't find anything. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on Twitter or X, but I didn't see it kind of collected anywhere. I do know there were a couple of Marvel comics that just never finished after the COVID pause, and I don't believe they are going to be finished. So there was a lot of, a lot of people lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods. Stories just didn't get completed during that time.
Yeah, I believe I remember there was like a Ghost Spider run at the time that was supposed to go into some Reed Richards, the Maker stuff, and it just didn't. I think it came back for about one more issue and then ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting time.
That's one way to put it. It was a rough time. It was a very uncertain time. Also, I'm sure for the X Desk it was a little easier being on a bigger title. When things got put on hold, they probably had a better feeling that their jobs would still be there once things went back. But hey, the Ghost Spider run, that's a Spider-Man property, and that didn't even get finished. I'm sure everybody on Batman was fine, and everybody on Superman was okay. But what about those small titles that don't sell as much,
Yeah. The event that I believe we're going to get to in a little bit, Empire, I think was mostly planned out before the pandemic happened. The announced comics for that event ends up looking radically different than what it ends up being.
Interesting. I actually didn't know that as a side effect of that, because I remember Empire starting in January and February of 2020, because I remember people talking about it, but I didn't know that the actual comics that came out ended up changing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I believe it wasn't as focused on the Fantastic Four and the Avengers as it ended up being.
Okay. Well, when we are going to eventually do an Empire episode, we'll cover that there for sure, but that's very interesting. I actually didn't know that. But all of these articles that I've read from, this was New York Times, Polygon, IGN. I'm going to post them, in the description of this podcast episode if you're interested. They're all very good, great coverage on them. And I'm also going to post them on our social medias if you want to take a look.
Great. That was a fantastic history lesson. Thank you for that.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
That was good stuff. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. It feels weird to say that it's a history lesson, considering for us it was only
yeah,
3 years ago.
That's something we did. We experienced that live.
We all lived through this.
Yeah.
But hey, this podcast is going to be on the internet, so in the future people might be like, "Oh, I was born after that. I have no clue."
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do end up listening to this like 10 years on, please reach out.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm also very curious.
I'd be fascinated.
Yeah, that's wild. Please tell us.
Please let us know how the future is. I hope everything's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you found your grandpa's vintage X-Men collection and it's got Krakoa stuff, and you wanted to learn about it, that's why you're listening to this. Do email us.
Yes, I will check this email 10 years in the future. Please. Like, hit us up. All right. So do we want to get into Wolverine number 3?
Yes, let's dive into Wolverine number 3.
I will say before we get to that, this is a very good place to like leave it as a cliffhanger for 4 months. I think that's very funny.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, no, it was a really brutal cliffhanger. There's a couple of others, because all the comics are gonna get it. There's a couple others where it's like, ooh, that's a rough wait of 4 months.
Yeah. But all right, so
Wolverine number 3. You Didn't See Nothing. This is still written by our boy Benjamin Percy, and this one was released in July of 2020.
I have a question for you, Chris.
Yes.
And you too, Sergio, actually. Did you know in Dante's Inferno, adamantium was the name of the metal forged into the gates of hell?
I did not.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, I never played that game.
Yeah, well-known game, Dante's Inferno.
I think the third one just came out. But yeah, so Wolverine's getting
that feels like a Benjamin Percy fact.
Yeah, it does.
You know, that just feels like something he would be like, "Hey, did you know, by the way?"
Yeah, that's cool. Let's have Magneto say it while drunk. So Wolverine's getting Magneto drunk at a bar.
Yes, this is our first instance of the Green Lagoon on Krakoa, which is a bar run by our friend Blob. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, Fred
All
Duke's
right.
Blob. Traditionally a villain, now a bartender.
Wearing a really fun Hawaiian shirt.
I love this. It's a good vibe. Like,
are they drinking off of apocalypse-shaped like wooden tiki heads?
Oh, I thought they were sentinel heads, but they might.
It's a sentinel.
Yeah.
It is a sentinel.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and it's great. I love the vibe going on here. And apparently so is Magneto.
It is very funny.
Because he drinks enough to where he's going to pass out.
Magneto's having a great time.
He sure is.
Yeah.
I do like how he's having all of these drinks and fun time while wearing his helmet.
Yeah, he's just in full cape and like costume, just getting drunk. Very, very happy about this. Seems very pleased to be drinking.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? Good for him. It's a shame Wolverine is doing it to steal his helmet.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay because we get the title drop as Wolverine tells Blob, "You didn't see nothing," as he walks away with the helmet.
Yeah. Also, war on drugs is the little line they have before the recap. But yeah, so we go back to our opening narration, and I think this is the part where I kind of start liking it because I think this is where it kind of goes beyond brooding, because he talks about like the whole helmet thing and how this isn't something that he would do traditionally, but he is someone that at this point he's trying to look more toward the future, trying to be more hopeful. He's trying to be the person that would plan something.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, like...
Do any of you know what's going on in that middle panel?
Yes, actually. That is, so that helmet thing is, like, just the thing that he had on after, like, during, like, the Weapon X stuff, so this is after he's been experimented on and he had, escaped. So This is probably, like, when he first got the adamantium in.
You know what I should ask, Sergio? How familiar are you with Wolverine's origin story?
Not much. I know he got experimented on and got his bones turned into adamantium.
Yeah. Wolverine's very old. His power is basically just bone claws and also just like a ridiculous healing factor.
Right.
But at some point he was captured and experimented on and like given the adamantium skeleton, and during this time like his memory got all jumbled up. So yeah, he's just been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's the age old, hey, it's difficult to control this person. What if we just mess up their head and then make them the weapon?
Yeah. But just kind of coming back to this narration a little bit, I do like it because it feels like it goes beyond just like Wolverine just brooding, and it kind of, I feel like kind of brings back that kind of happy Wolverine playing with kids that we've seen, where like the brooding part of him is still there. Like, that's still always going to be there. It's part of him as a character, but like he is trying to be more hopeful and more optimistic. And I think that comes through a lot in this issue. We'll kind of get more into that as it goes on, but that was kind of the takeaway I had here.
Okay, yeah, no, I can definitely see that now that you're pointing it out, because it's not a very heavy-handed optimism from Logan, but it's more subtle.
Yeah.
You can see him trying.
It almost like, aside from this, I don't even think it's really delivered in the narration more. It's more like just the actions he takes here. It's like, okay, yeah, this is not how you would have done this before. But yeah, so we've taken Magneto's helmet yesterday, and now we're seeing some weird thing in the ocean that the ship is sailing towards.
Yeah, what looks to be a massive underground not submarine. That seems to be where the Flower Cartel is probably running their operation, assuming that's where the Pale Girl is taking Wolverine.
Yeah.
So, but we'll figure that out later, because the day prior, Wolverine was just really, really busy. Besides taking Magneto's helmet, he is also talking to Kid Omega here and trying to get him in on the plan that he has concocted.
Kid Omega saying death is boring is very funny at this point. How many we should have kept a count on this man's deaths.
Ooh, I think we're only at 2 so far.
Yeah.
Because he got cut in half, and then Wolverine killed him. So that is at the very...
Did it happen in very quick succession?
Yes. Yeah, all since he joined X-Force, really.
Yeah. So Wolverine kind of does the thing where he implies he's scared and Kid Omega's not having it, but then the Cuckoo show up.
Yep, and they basically go around him and tell him how amazing and incredible he is for taking on the Pale Girl, how heroic that is, and how that, he's going to be a hero and remembered for it. And
they just find it very attractive that he would do something like that.
And Quentin has absolutely no self-awareness and falls completely for it.
Yeah. One of them apparently wants to be introduced to Cable, and the speech bubble is a heart.
Yeah, that's how you know that they're very, very into Cable. But I do think it's funny here. This is a really good panel because the top of it is Kid Omega, just surrounded by these girls, being wooed. And then you get a close-up of one of them, and it's a very serious face of like, we hate this. Take us to Cable.
He sucks so much.
You know what, Kid Omega.
Yeah.
This whole thing is very silly.
Yeah.
It is very silly. It's very silly, but it works.
I absolutely buy that Quentin is shallow enough to buy into this.
Oh, 100%. This guy is going to believe that was all real for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So, but we have a data page here from Beast's logbook. And it's pretty long, but essentially Xavier couldn't find the Pale Girl, so it's very likely she was not a mutant. But there was a brief moment in a meeting of the Quiet Council where he sensed something, and it kind of felt like Jean. So that seems to be a hint towards who the Pale Girl may be, but it's not very clear.
And I think the more interesting thing, he couldn't sense all of Russia for a little bit.
Yeah, that feels far more important.
Yeah.
Russia's pretty big to not sense anything.
Yeah. We follow this up with the best transcript, or the best data page of all of these issues, which is Jeff Bannister's conversation with Dolores Ramirez of the X-Desk.
Yes, which this is not 100%, so we don't know. Is that the author of all of the X-Desk logs that we get? Is it Dolores?
I'm gonna say that's inconclusive, but at least she must know them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay. I'm gonna go with that.
I love Bannister's interactions here.
Yeah, just brushing them off completely.
Yeah.
Which also seems to be very like the norm for the X-Desk in general.
Yeah.
I've always pictured them as heavily underfunded.
Yeah, just completely, just no one's paying attention to them.
Uh-huh.
No
Yeah.
one's taking them seriously.
Jeff Bannister thinks she said the sex desk.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Uh,
he's pulling out every card in the book to be like, hey, would you just go away?
yeah, he's got a lot to say about pizza. Um, yeah, this is good stuff. I love that she kind of offers like an olive branch, like, hey, we could work together. And he's like, no, gotta go.
I feel bad for the X-Desk.
Yeah.
Even if they are a U.S. government entity, I feel bad for the employee.
Total length of the call 54 seconds at the end of this is just it's very good. Like I can hear this conversation or this phone call. Like it's
I feel like Bannister probably has this on speakerphone,
yeah.
and it's really, really staticky, and he keeps moving away from the phone. Just an awful time.
Yeah, I feel like Bannister's drawing from so many well-known characters and like archetypes that you can really like characterize him beyond what's on the page.
Yes.
Yeah, it's real good. It really does feel like Percy was just kind of like, I want a character like this, and then just did that. And I don't know, there's part of it that's kind of tropey, but I love it. I think it works. The clash with this into like the X-Men world is very fun.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's some Lebowski in there.
Yeah,
There's like procedural cop.
Yeah, it's basically if
It's
if
good.
Lebowski decided to be a procedural cop.
yeah. So yeah, we get to where the flower cartel was going, or where the pale girl was taking these petals, which is this crazy looking
Underwater base of some sort that is really
Yeah.
cool.
Uh,
But also Russian branded.
Yeah, they got the little star up there over the X. And yeah, apparently this is where a lot of the Russian mutants have decided to go, or well, have been taken to. And they've described this as the Russians have built their own Krakoa.
Yeah, I know it says this. I don't get that vibe from it. I
Yeah.
know they just mean like, hey, an island in the ocean.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of the people that Wolverine and crew are about to fight are mutants.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but like I said, it's and crew because Wolverine's plan was to hide the Marauders on board this ship that was taken here by the Pale Girl. And Wolverine is wearing Magneto's helmet here as they are ready to just destroy this place.
Yeah, we get Wolverine, Storm, Iceman, Bishop, and Pyro here. And here's kind of the thing where I kind of said like the optimism seems to kind of come through like more than just the narration. Like Wolverine spent a lot of these like issues building up to like I like to work alone. I don't like anyone else getting hurt and all this, but this is him trusting in people that he knows. Like he brought his friends into this to like help him out, and like it just shows like a different side of him. I think it does show like a side of him that's like trying to be more hopeful and more optimistic about this, like willing to let others in.
Now, here's a quick question. I don't know if I don't remember something. Is there a reason Domino is not between these people?
I don't think he asked Domino or Jean, is what I got the impression on. I think he brought in the Marauders here, but it doesn't seem like he had a plan for the rest of X-Force aside from Quentin.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember if Domino had something else going on.
Yeah, I don't think Domino does. I could see the argument for Jean being Wolverine really doesn't want her to get hurt again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Domino, I don't know.
But yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So we go back to yesterday where Wolverine's talking to the Marauders and Quentin. And he's wants to bring him in, says Jeff Bannister's good people. He's correct. And
yes, indeed.
Yeah, so they're going in.
They're going to Trojan horse this place with all of them hiding in the psionic shielded part of the boat. And Quentin, he's not for that. He's like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to hide from these people. And that's fine, because he has a different plan for him. Quentin is going to pretend to be the Wolverine that stabbed Jeff Bannister.
Yeah. So Quentin had apparently been faking this the whole time. Or that Wolverine that we saw on the high seas was not Wolverine.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And we have this really fun small panel here of Quentin going back to looking like himself as he explains to the pale girl, "Do you know what I had to do? I had to hike uphill both ways in the snow while looking like Wolverine, and you fell for it."
Oh yeah,
Before
he
getting
gloats a
knocked out.
lot. He gets knocked out by Pale Girl immediately, mind controlling Jeff Bannister.
Yeah, it's good. I kind of like. I'm starting to really like the gag of Kid Omega just being an asshole and then everybody just dunking on him.
Yeah, it's
While still being pretty efficient at what he does.
yeah. He
Yes.
he gets his job done, but yeah, this dude
Yeah.
seems to exist to get the dunks in.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't see too far beyond the point where he gets the job done, but he does get the job done.
Yeah, like you got to give him a reason to keep him around. Aside from just the
Uh-huh.
person you dunk on, like he's efficient. He's probably gonna get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
If you want someone reliable, you get Jean. If you want someone to blow something up, Kid Omega's still a good choice.
yeah, just did the job.
Yeah, and we also get this juxtaposed with the Marauders and Wolverine completely ignoring the kill no man rule and just murdering a bunch of people.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, if you assume they're mutants, it's fine. It's fine actually.
I don't know if these people
I mean,
are mutants.
They are enemy combatants.
Yeah. That's
They are.
true. We have said that's okay.
This is true, but Wolverine cuts one in half at the waist.
Yeah,
That's a little excessive. Some excessive force.
But yeah, again, I feel like the narration here feels like, again, less broody and more optimistic. Like it's a lot of him talking about his friends who are like there for him and all this stuff. I almost I wonder if this was originally supposed to go this way, or if Percy just like found himself in a different place when he wrote this issue compared to the last one with like COVID.
It would be funny if that was the case, because I feel like it makes a very clear contrast and like knowing contrast with the previous issue in which Bannister was asking Wolverine why not bring anyone else along.
Yeah.
I think this pays that off well.
Yeah, I want to say this issue was originally supposed to come out. Let me see.
Probably in April.
Yeah, early April. So I want to say by then it was probably already written. But yeah, it is a difference, and I feel, this is just my memory. We're gonna see as we go on. I feel like you can tell when the COVID shift in writing happens, because I remember certain plot points and everything not be as big of a deal anymore. Like they get pushed to the background. But I do think for this one, this was how it was supposed to go. I think he always intended Wolverine to be a little bit more of an optimist, a little bit more of a team player.
Yeah. So Wolverine here hunts down Pale Girl, but she says that your friends are your weakness, actually, and says she doesn't need to control him to make him do what he wants, and she has Jeff Bannister threaten to shoot himself.
Mm-hmm. She pulls the Uno reverse card out and basically says, you're not allowed to gain the power of your friends.
Yeah. But Wolverine manages to talk Bannister down enough to take the gun, but it does seem like the Pale Girl got away because of that.
Yeah, and we also see here that this underwater base is absolutely massive. It is not just this kind of disc at the top. It is like a whole Death Star under the ocean.
It is a small Death Star. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, just big old base.
It's really impressive, especially because only the top, gosh, I don't even know what you would say, eighth of that just gets left on the surface and the rest of it rockets away.
Yeah, very fast, just down into the ocean.
So, unfortunately, the Pale Girl does get away, but Bannister's life was saved here by Wolverine, as well as nobody got hurt from the Marauders. The Russians on board, a different story, but let's not talk about that. And instead, we have a data page of Beast's logbook of the problem with Russia. And another long one. But it seems to be that Russia is building a secret mutant army, and they made this flower cartel to make the drugs bad so as to make the popularity of Krakoa's drugs and mutantdom kind of go down on the popularity scale.
Yeah, we get a mention of those Order of X dudes. Apparently, that was intentional to inspire distrust in the Krakoan medicine.
A war on multiple fronts, if you want to call it that. You know,
So
propaganda war and
Yeah.
everything.
that retroactively, I think, does kind of help the drug being like something that kills you, knowing that like, oh yeah, it was
This
it
was
was
the
a bad
plan.
it was a bad batch. This was supposed to be like something that people would see and be like, oh, I don't want to take that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want none of those Krakoan meds. Um. Anyway, back on the lawn.
Yeah, back on the lawn, which still looks immaculate.
Wolverine is given hand sanitizer, and it looks like what is her name?
It's funny, you say that, I looked at my notes, I also did not write down her name.
Let's look it up. Hold on. I'm sure it's been mentioned and I just forgot. I don't know if it was mentioned in the issue.
Not in this
I
one.
don't think it was.
Yeah.
No.
I think it was mentioned only in the first one.
Maddie.
Maddie, okay.
But yeah, Wolverine did him a solid and like just got her some of those Krakoan meds, so she's good to go now. She's got her hair back already. That's pretty quick.
That hair grew really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
look.
was about to mention they gave her that hair growing petals.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's just a side effect of the Krakoan medicine, your hair grows really fast.
I appreciate that her shirt's a similar floral pattern as something that Bannister would wear.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, we just talked about it earlier, how Bannister is kind of a combination of several characters. So you know he absolutely is wearing this because his daughter picked it out for him.
Oh yeah, I could see it. That's my headcanon now. I like this bit. Jeff Bannister keeps thinking Wolverine, and Wolverine really doesn't want to take credit.
Mm-hmm. You know, he just did his job, he did what he had to do, but Bannister's like, well, no. We each have done horrible things, and yeah, maybe we can't wash that blood off, but sometimes we can just do good stuff too.
Yeah, and like he's very just like Wolverine says, like, don't play shrink on me, but Bannister has this it's a very optimistic view on Wolverine, and it's a lot better than it's a lot better than Wolverine's actual view on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're so convinced you're bad, it gets in the way of being good. But yeah, he's just like, hey, you're not the only one here. Like, you are a good dude. Like, stop pretending you're not. And I don't know, it's kind of cool.
It's nice.
Yeah, it is a nice epilogue to the whole thing. It really feels like the end of a Body Cops movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The nice closing credits here, and as we get to the next page, Logan is called away to something for X-Force, and he leaves the two of them with a small Krakoan gate in a flower pot.
Yeah, and the Quiet Council is demanding his immediate presence because something about him going rogue and Magneto's helmet, which I think is a very funny note to leave this off on too.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Magneto wasn't the most pleased to wake up and find that his helmet was gone.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have a Krakoan flower for hangovers.
Oh, I bet they do.
I bet they do. That must be nice. So, but that is the end of Wolverine number 3. It looks like Wolverine number 4, we're going to go back to the Vampire Nation. So I'm excited for that. But for this whole story, as Sergio said, it is kind of the wrap up here. It seems to be the end of this bit with the pale girl, at least for now. She did get away. But what did you two think about it?
It was alright. I thought it was a little disjointed at parts. I feel like it jumps from one scene to the other in a way that is a little jarring, but it, again, has a story to tell in 26 pages, so I can give it a pass for that. But it did seem like it had very little space to breathe. Not in the way that it feels when we're reading Excalibur, but like getting close to that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. On this issue, I spent a lot of time having to back up just to remember what the heck was happening and how we got here. The stuff with them like arriving on Russia kind of interwoven with the flashbacks. I see why it was written that way, but a lot of it does feel very jarring. Um, but for the most part, I like this. I was expecting this to go in a very different direction than it did, and I like the direction it went in better than the one I thought it was going to go in. Where it feels like it's going to be, you know, a dark and brooding Wolverine story, and what we get instead is just something a lot more like on the bright side, I think. And I feel like it shows some like growth in Wolverine's character. This isn't someone who's just like embracing the darkness. Just he's just everything's dark all the time. Like he's trying to be better with this new state of like his life.
Yeah, and I honestly think you've kind of turned me around on this issue in particular, especially the story, you know? I didn't really put together that it had been more of an optimistic view for Wolverine. I was just like, okay, he's getting everybody for revenge. They're gonna go take care of it, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I like that look at it, that it was intentionally more of an optimistic him opening up instead of being the solo, grumpy, you know, gruff Batman kind of guy all on his own.
Yeah, because issue 2 really feels like it's gonna be that way again, where he and Bannister keep like alluding to like we have to go it alone, which just me and you working this thing, and it doesn't really go that direction.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and I think pointing that out has really helped me, you know, see this in a more positive light. I think it was fine, you know, it's a fine Wolverine story. I like Jeff Bannister the most out of all of it. But
Oh
I am
yeah,
excited to get back to the silliness of vampires.
me
So
too. Put Jeff Bannister in the vampire arc.
please, that
I
would be
don't
so
know
much
how,
fun.
but just more Jeff Bannister, please. He is the best.
I would love to see his take on vampires and what he
Uh,
thinks about them.
That would be fantastic, yeah.
but yeah. What do we got up next?
Up next for our next episode, we have X-Force number 7 and 8, and we also have giant-sized X-Men Jean Grey and Emma Frost number 1.
Ooh, weird.
It says number 1, it's a standalone, but we are going to be reading that.
Yes. That's a lot of Benjamin.
Sounds fun.
That's a lot of Benjamin Percy. I'm excited for Jean Grey. I'm not sure how that one's gonna go on a podcast, but we'll see. That's gonna be an interesting discussion.
I'm interested in that one because I don't fully remember it. I
Oh
just remember the giant-sized issues being like, oh, these were really fun and good.
yeah, you'll remember when you're reading it.
Okay, okay.
You'll be like,
Well,
oh yeah, this one. Like,
okay. I'm looking forward to it at the very least.
Also, I'm noticing we're not going to be reading Wolverine for a while.
Yes.
yeah, we are taking a little bit of a break before that. I think the order had that vampire story a little bit later, which would have given us some Wolverine relief before that, but that's not how we're doing.
Yeah, we actually don't get back to Wolverine until after episode 28 at some point, which is as far as we have written down. We're gonna start Hellions first before getting back to Wolverine.
Oh, that's gonna be great though.
I know, I'm so excited to get to that. Oh man. It's a really great comic, Sergio. You're gonna love it.
But
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of this. I especially like all of the new stuff coming up. I have no idea what a giant-sized X-Men is. Do they just get bigger, or is it a reference to the page size? I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
yeah, we will together.
And we can go into the history of that just a bit when we get there.
Yeah.
Because that does have history with X-Men.
Oh yes. But for now, if you have finished this episode with us, thank you for joining us. If you could give us a review on your favorite podcasting app of choice, that would be great, so we can just reach out and find more people to read these wonderful comics with all of us. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or, you know, what are you famous for? Are you also the kickboxing champion? You can send it to us at studyofx@gmail.com, and we might read it here on the podcast. And if you are looking for any of our social media accounts, you can find us on X, also known as Twitter, and on Tumblr as Study of X. And if you are looking for me personally on any of these, I do have an account on Twitter. It is Sawneeks, Sawneeks, although I don't use it often. I also now have a Blue Sky, so you can find me there under the same name. And Sergio, if they are looking to find you to let you know how much they also love Jeff Bannister, where can they find you?
People can find me at Fireblend on most social media. So just look me up with that username, and if it's there, I'm probably there.
Mm-hmm. Or if you have a local sundial, you can go there as well, and I'm pretty sure all of his social media accounts are written on every single one.
Yes, if it is a genuine sundial, you'll find it engraved in the surface.
Mm-hmm. If it's not there, then it is a forgery, and you should report it to us.
Uh-huh.
And Tim, if they are wanting to send you some well wishes because of your broken foot, where can they send them to?
So what you want to do is you want to leave your house and go outside. Maybe get in your car. Maybe just take a walk, and you want to just go out and look at the houses. Look at the lawns. Find the most pristine, perfect lawn you can find, and knock on the door, and I will answer.
Mm.
I was wondering where this was going.
I was also wondering where this is going, but I like this.
Yeah.
And if Tim does not answer the door, that means that there is a better lawn somewhere nearby, and you have to go find it.
Yeah. Also, maybe don't knock on random strangers' door in America right now. But
yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
but if you do, tell them about this podcast, I guess, and tell them they should read comic books because they're fun.
Yeah. Tell them you're looking for Chugs. I mean, Tim.
Tim or Chugs. Either one. They'll be confused either way.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Until next time. Later, mutants.
Bye.
Bye.